Hey everyone, welcome to the Huddle. I'm talking to you today from Orlando, Florida. We are at the Walmart Fall Manager Meeting. We do these about twice a year. And as you know, we cover a wide range of topics on these kind of interviews. And today I have a supplier with me. I'll start there, Kevin Costner, who has recently become a supplier to Walmart, amongst many other things. And I know of all the things you've done in your career, that has to be the most exciting part of your entire career is supplying Walmart. Maybe not, but for us it is. But Kevin, you've had a great career, a lot of chapters, big variety in movies, production, and this morning you just performed a few songs with your band, which I, as a musician and guitar player, that for me was the highlight of the morning. But thanks for doing this, and love to talk to you about specifically how you've managed so many chapters in your career. We're a 63-year-old company who's constantly trying to figure out what's next and how to reinvent yourself and transform, and you've done that. So love to start there and then eventually get to the product we're selling.
Yeah, I was always kind of jealous of the kids who in college who knew what they wanted to do. I looked at them and they were already in some lane, whether it's engineering or medical or lawyering or blah. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that that single idea of what I wanted to do. I could retrace the breadcrumbs of my life, if you will, and saw, being in music in the church, playing in choirs, writing poetry, doing things like that. But I really grew up as a blue collar. My dad had one job. His family lost everything in the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, up in the Panhandle. And consequently, it affected him, and he would never take any risk. He was going to be one job, and that was it. And so we lived in a very modest way. And I thought in a way that probably the blue collar would be what I did. I framed houses. I worked commercial fishing boats. I paid for my college. And I thought maybe that's what I was going to do. But I knew inherently that I was a storyteller. But how would you translate that into a living? And so I didn't have that thing where I knew exactly what it was going to be. And I kind of prayed for that. I wanted that badly, because I thought if I could just get on my yellow brick road, if I could put one foot on it. You probably had that happen, it's a little bit I don't want to say by mistake, but you went to work for Walmart as a young man.
Exactly.
Were you a teenager or were you 20 at the time?
No, I was. My first goal in life was to be a musician. And, like you just said, I found it very hard to find a way to making a living playing the guitar.
It's hard.
So I was in college, 18 years old, got a job at Walmart, fell in love with people, fell in love with retail.
18 without even knowing it, you stepped on that yellow brick road, didn't even know it, because it's been your journey. And my big journey was being able to listen to my heart, like, what is it I really want to do? And storytelling was a part of it. But I would never let something, I have not refused to let being an actor or director or whatever it is people think that I do define who I am. I mean, that's how I'm known now globally, is in that capacity. But my life is watching my children succeed. I love to build. I just reserve the right to step into something new if it moves me. I'm not going to be trapped by some of the success I've been able to enjoy. I'm going to just leave myself. If I want to move that direction, I will just go there.
Kevin, earlier we were talking about the variety of films you chose to do, and people have pressured you to do part 2, part 3, part 4, yet you decided not to do that.
Right.
And there's a parallel here with merchandising. We may find an item or category that works this year, and so the temptation might be to stay with it forever, but we know people want to be inspired. They want to discover new things. So you have to push yourself to find the next thing. How'd you decide to do it? You just said a bit of it.
Well, for me, I try to put maybe the same thing in, I took marketing actually in college, but I didn't really translate it to anything other than, for me, if I have a story, I feel like, if I have a great story, I feel like I have a secret. If I have a great song, I feel like I have a secret. If you read a great book, the first thing you do is tell somebody the next day, I just read the greatest book. I put an audience on my shoulder to go, is this, number one, it's got to give above my bar of storytelling. Is it good enough? Is the product good enough? Is the story good enough that it's your time to talk at the campfire? If it's not, you need to be quiet. But if you think you have a story, then you believe in it. But one of the things you have to do is, it's not what I call refrigerator art. What I mean refrigerator art is your mom puts up your picture, even if it's not any good. But when you decide professionally to make movies or to do anything, you have to think about the people that are going to see it. The people who's going to walk into your store, the people are going to look at those shelves. And are they going to see that there's different offerings? Is it changing? Is it evolving in a way? Is it being improved? You know, how do you stay, you want to stay attentive.
You do. Yeah, I studied marketing also. I went from engineering to kinesiology and ended up in marketing. And I found trying to put things together in a way that inspires people to live their best life, which is really working on behalf of others.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to put yourself, you got to meet your audience where they are. You got to meet your associates where they are. And then that leads to this latest chapter, the last 8 months, deciding, and I'm sure you could have gotten into product a long time ago. I'm sure a lot of people have told you to do that, but you had to find the thing that was important to you. Otherwise, it's not authentic. You can put your name on anything, but that's not the point.
Right. Well, I think you have to have a high level of interest in what you do, which translates into something authentic. And, it's like none of us like to be around anything that doesn't feel that way. A friendship is an authentic friendship. Is your business relationship authentic? Is your endorsement of a product authentic? Your name has to stand for something. And it has to stand for today, tomorrow, and the day after that.
That's right. And product, to me, I was a merchant early in my career. Every product's interesting, and there's a story behind it. And this morning, we got to hear a few of the songs. So I would love to talk to you about that as a musician. You're telling stories that you wrote. You didn't play covers. It's not other people's music. Each of those, I could tell in some way, they've got you all inside them. How do you get the inspiration to write a song? And then how do you determine if that's the one you stay with or not?
Well, you write a lot of songs. My whole band writes. I'm really an average songwriter, but I still try. But the one thing that I do with my band is I break all the ties. I decide what we will do, because I have to stand again in front of it. And if my song isn't good enough, I won't let it get there. The cream has to get to the top. It just has to do that, and I have to be the author of that. We've never had an argument in our entire relationship. We've been the same guys for 20 years. In fact, 2 of them were in my first band that I was in when I was in my 20s. And so it's just, you do have to have a level of judgment.
Right. And the courage at times to just say no, even when it was your idea.
No.
It's just not going to work.
Best idea gets to the top. And you just keep going.
Yeah, I never had that experience in bands. I felt like I was in a few where it was always arguments and drama. So finding the right people that can work together.
We never had that. I never had that. I've had that in other disciplines of my life. Why can't I find the right? This seems to be a black hole for me. But when it's come to my assistants in my life, in my band, there has been no shifting. There's been no drama.
That's great. Now we have a large team, over 1,300,000 people here in the United States, all trying to serve common interests. But what I find when things are hard or things are a bit tumultuous or dramatic, if you can talk about the people you're serving and the product you sell, what I always find is then we have more in common than we have different. So, leading back to coffee, I'd heard you were doing this project. Then I saw it on your social media in one of our stores. I think it was in Texas, a picture of you. So we got excited about the item. You're excited about it. Talk about the item, the collaboration, how it came about, and why it's important.
Yeah, I was, I am approached about doing some things, and we actually made a little industrial for the product itself, and people have a bunch of little silly things out there for me, and I don't know if you ever saw it, but I'm like rejecting them, and not anything out there that they wanted me to do. And I happen to have a cup of coffee in my hand, and as I'm walking, I'm going, look, I don't know, I'm not going to do any of this stuff. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do something with something I do every day, like this. And they actually did a riff on it, So it's kind of a true thing, even though it's a bit of a joke, like this. And that's how it happened. I haven't been a coffee drinker my whole life, but the last 15 years, I just have to have one. I don't know if it's routine. I don't know if it's an addiction. I'm not sure what it is. It sets me straight. And it's only one, believe it or not. So I'm not this kind of guy that's going all day long. It's like, but if I can get that, it centers me a little bit.
Yeah. Good to start the day with the routine.
And that's how that started. And then we were approached by Green Mountain coffee roasters, and it took us about 6 or 7 months to come up with what it was. They were very sincere. They were authentic in this approach. It wasn't like once they had me, they said anything they could say to get me. But in this instance, 5, 6 trips to different states where I was working to finally get the coffee to the point where I go, well, this feels right. And they helped me quite a bit.
A lot of stories you've told, big variety, and you talked about a few earlier, but clearly looks, at least to me, like you're drawn to the West, to what's new, a Shivering to a Frontier, even the name of the band. What pulls you that way?
Well, nobody confuses me for anything around the world other than being American. I mean, I make baseball movies. I don't bake, so the apple pie, I can't throw it in there. But I do visit the West simply because it wasn't a land in Disneyland. I mean, we're right here. It was real. It was authentic. It was relentless. It was impossible. And it broke people. But we had this sense of hope that carried us across this thing. And it happened over a couple 100 years, 300 years. By inches, people moved. And they wanted, by definition, something better for themselves, something that they could own, something they could pass on to their children. But what makes the West interesting is there was already a group of people out there who had been there for 15,000 years. And this dream that we have of making things better, this thing even that your company is growth, is movement, is something, it was a whole nother culture. Well, those things didn't come into a play at all. They were like living in harmony with just exactly what they had. So when people came to America, they were really coming to, when you think of what was going on in Europe for thousands of years, people, for these giant buildings and pyramids and whatever, we were like the Garden of Eden. The animals, these forests, you couldn't even move through this Florida. It was just wild. And yet people in Europe came here, and it's hope that's built America. It's the idea that things could be better for our children. But there was one group that suffered because of our relentless pursuit of building something, of making something bigger, better, including what. And there's a drama there that I am drawn to. That's rough. And when you do it right, I think we have a greater empathy for what people were going through.
Sure do. And we need to do, the way I look at it, we have to do a couple things at once, maybe more than two, but we want to provide people hope and the hope of prosperity and living a better life with their family. And we want a strong economy. We have developmental awareness, and we want to preserve. And one of the things that we do, really talked about in one of these, was something called Acres for America, where every time we develop any kind of property, we preserve. The original goal was 1-to-1. And we develop an acre, we would then preserve an acre. It's now grown from develop an acre to preserve 20 acres. That's about the way the math's worked out. So we can do both at the same time and still preserve that.
Well, you're not only done that, but the truth is, you've created a place where, we look at what other people have. And sometimes we're in a different economic situation than the situation I'm in, or somebody. I didn't come from a lot, but I have plenty now. And there's people looking, and they see these marvelous things that other people have. And your company has made it possible. Somebody goes, I would like to have a big screen thing. I'd like to have these kind of toys for my kids. I'd like this. You've made things affordable. The quality continues to improve. The things that people, were out of reach, they're within reach.
Our purpose as a company, our founder gave us in the early 90s, just before he passed away, is is to save people money so that they can have and live a better life. And that became just as clear as day when we got it right. It was save money, live better. And the product story, the coffee, is an example of a way we can do that. And then trapped inside it, packaged inside it, is the story.
Yeah.
And it all comes to life when you try it. So we're excited about the partnership. We're excited about the product. Ultimately, it's about the story, and we're excited about the product, and we're going to do a great job with it. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for being part of this morning. The team loved it. You have 4,600 managers out there excited now, so they know what to go do. And this is the time of year where we get everybody back together.
We're colleagues.
And that's right. That's right. So we're in together.
We're connected.
Kevin, thank you so much. Really fun morning. Thanks for sharing also a few of the songs and the stories, and looking forward to a lot of success with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.